All right, you guys, welcome back. We are looking at distance formula now, and everything is relating back to 2 points. Okay, if we have 2 points, what can we do with those 2 points? So we have been finding the midpoint. We found an endpoint, okay, when we were given the midpoint and an endpoint, and now I want to find the distance between those 2 points. And so I need this fancy formula that I got going on here. All right, so if I look at my example, says to find the distance between 2 points, rounding to the nearest tenth if necessary. Okay, so we are going to be getting some decimal values that we're going to work with. All right, so I have 3, 6, and I have 1, 8. Okay, and I'm going to label those points as x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, now I need to find the distance. So the distance is the square root of, okay, and the more you write this formula down, you will commit it to memory. So the square root of y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. Okay. All right. So the distance equals, and if you notice, okay, that's very similar to how you set up the slope formula. So y2 minus y1. So 8 minus 6 squared plus x2 minus x1, 1 minus 3 squared. Okay? All right, so D equals, now I'm going to do a little bit of simplifying because I like to type in a very short answer or a short problem into my calculator. All right, so 8 minus 6 is 2, so 2 squared plus parentheses 1 minus 3 is negative 2 squared. All right, D equals the square root. Well, 2 squared, that is 4, plus negative 2 squared. Remember, get your calculator and put that in parentheses. So you get 4. So D equals the square root of 8. Okay. Now, if I switch over to Delta Math or Desmos, I can type in that whole thing. Okay. So if I slide this over here, let me show you what it looks like on Desmos. Okay. All right. So actually, let me minimize this screen. So I have the square root of 8. So let's first make sure you know how to type that in on Desmos. So here, square root 8. But let's just confirm we got the right answer. So parentheses, 8 minus 6, close the parentheses, exponent squared, plus parentheses, 1 minus 3, parentheses, exponent squared. Okay, and you can see our decimals match. So you can either type it in number 1 or you could type it in like I did here in line number 2, whichever is comfortable for you. So D equals, okay, so I have 2.8284. If I want to round to the 10th, I look here at 2. Well, 2 tells me that 8 stays the same. So my final answer is 2.8. So if I bring back up Delta Math, let me bring that back over here. I'm going to type in 2.8, submit my answer, yes. Okay, now you can look here. Look at the distance formula that he provides to you. Okay, he writes x sub 1 minus x sub 2, and y sub 1 minus y sub 2. Okay, it honestly, it does not matter. Okay, I do the formula this way because it relates back to the slope formula, which you already know. You know the slope formula is y2 minus y1. So let's just keep it that way. Okay, it is okay that it's done this way. You can see it's proven to you, you get the same work, okay, or you get the same answer. Okay, all right. So let's do another example. New problem. All right. So find the distance between these 2 points. So I have 2, negative 3, 0, -8. So I'm going to label my points x1, y1, x2, y2. And to memorize the formula, I'm going to write it down. So y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. Okay, that is how you will memorize the formula if you write it down. So d equals the square root of y2, so -8 minus -3 squared. Okay, I'm going to add in an extra set of parentheses, plus, now I'm going to take 0 minus 2 squared. Okay, you can type the whole thing into Desmos, okay, but -8 plus 3, that's -5 squared. Let me get that square root symbol. And 0 minus 2 is -2 squared. So d equals the square root of 25 plus 4. So d equals the square root of 29. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I like to do this part because also too it keeps my arithmetic skills sharper. So let's take that out. So we're going to do the square root of 29. Okay, and I'll type it in again just to show you. Okay, parentheses. We're going to do -8 minus 3 and then exponent. Okay, and it's minus -3. So we get that negative sign in there. And then plus, and then parentheses, 0 minus 2 squared. You can see I've got the same decimal answer. Okay, all right, so now d equals the square root of 29. Well, that is 5.3851. I look at that 8. That 8 tells me the 3 becomes a 4. So d equals 5.4. So that is the distance, okay, the distance between those 2 points. So if I were to measure it, okay. All right, so let's bring back up Delta Math. Let's type in our answer of 5.4. Submit. There we go. Okay. All right, now there's also 2. Okay. If you look at that, you're like, that looks like a right triangle. Okay. What if I use the Pythagorean theorem? Okay. I'll leave that for you to discover on your own. All right. Good luck, you guys. That's how you do the last part of your assignment.